any passengers who have just joined us, welcome aboard. On your left, you will see Peppergreen Farm, a community-run market garden. These gardens have been here since the 1850s and were started by the Chinese, who made up a quarter of the town's population in 1856. At the time, the Chinese saw an opportunity to supply fresh vegetables to the hungry diggers. For many years, their horse-drawn wagons laden with fresh produce were a familiar sight around Bendigo. The Chinese also recognized other business opportunities. Evidence of one such business was unearthed next to the gardens in 2005, when archaeologists discovered a 19th century Chinese brickmaking kiln. It is significant as the only known example of a Chinese brickmaking kiln outside of China. On our left, you can see a tram line branching off to a second tram depot, built inside the old Bendigo gasworks. This depot dates back to the 1980s and houses the tramway's spare vehicles. Bendigo's gasworks are the last to remain complete in Victoria. Established in 1860, the gas was produced by roasting coal inside large horizontal ovens or retorts. Roasting coal was a filthy job, with flashes of fire, dust and a terrible smell. The gasworks closed in 1973 when natural gas was introduced to Bendigo. Tyson's Reef was named after James Hungry Tyson, a digger who set up a slaughter yard near here in 1852 to sell beef to the miners. When Tyson sold up 3 years later, he was a millionaire. So many who came to Bendigo in search of gold found their wealth in other ways. In the 1950s, tram travel was a very affordable option for Bendigo families. A one-way fare to anywhere in town was the equivalent of 5 cents. Tram travel was reliable too, and many drivers prided themselves on running their service on the dot. People who lived along the tram route would often set their clocks by the time the tram rattled past their door and rang its bell. Next stop, Lake Waroona. If you wish to get off here, please pull the left-hand bell cord once. In 1876, 45 acres of land was set aside for the building of a lake. At the time, Lake Waroona cost £10,000 to construct and was opened to the public in 1878. The name Waroona is an Aboriginal word meaning pleasant waters, a reminder that for thousands of years, Bendigo was home to the Dja Dja Rum people. A short drive to the north is the Bendigo Botanic Gardens, and a little further on, the Bendigo Pottery. Both should be on your to-do list if you're spending time in Bendigo. Bendigo Pottery is Australia's oldest working pottery. Established in 1858, the pottery has operated continuously from the current site in Epsom since 1863. It is home to the most significant collection of ceramic wood-fired kilns left in the world. Today, the pottery complex includes an interpretive museum, artist studios, and an extensive antique centre. For those who like getting their hands dirty, the daily wheel throwing lessons are highly recommended. Up until the early 1970s, people used trams as we use buses today. The long-serving drivers and conductors knew their passengers by name. Often they would have seen them grow up, travelling by tram to school, then eventually work, and through to their courting days and marriage. One of my regulars was a young fellow who was courting a girl from Ecuador. Initially, cheekily used to ride his bike back to Bendigo hanging onto the back of a tram, but after a while, the conductor and I felt sorry for the lad. So we just put his bike on the tram and let him ride for free. Let it never be said that us trammies don't have a romantic side. The intersection ahead on our left is Bendigo TAFE, formerly the Bendigo School of Mines, established in 1873. Between 1887 and 1890, it became home to the Sandhurst Fine Art Gallery. The gallery was forced to move after the scandalous exhibition of a nude painting caused outrage among more conservative members of the public. The Spanish Maiden by Jose Gutierrez de la Vega is still housed in the Bendigo Art Gallery in View Street. By today's standards, it's hard to imagine what all the fuss was about. The Star Bar on the corner is the oldest surviving building along Pall Mall, and next to it is the site where Sidney Meyer opened his first store in 1900. Meyer had only arrived in Australia a year earlier as a penniless Russian migrant, but his talent for retail quickly earned him a loyal customer base. The store drew crowds of customers with its irresistible bargains and Meyer's flair for new fashion trends and presenting stock. When he died unexpectedly at the age of 56, 100,000 people lined the streets of Melbourne to pay their final respects and witness the funeral procession. Coming up on our left is Bull Street, crowned at its eastern end by the Bendigo Town Hall, another grand design by Wilhelm Barland, and a fine example of boom-time architecture in Bendigo. In the 1970s, it came close to demolition, but was fully restored in 2003. Its elaborate plasterwork, extensive hand-painted decorations, and delicate gold leafing now make it a sight to behold. We're now approaching the Shamrock Hotel, located on the next corner, host to many famous entertainers such as Dainelli Melba and the demon courtesan Lola Montez. Lola Montez was an international star of stage, song and dance, and the miners threw golden nuggets at her feet whenever she performed. Other famous guests of the Shamrock were Prince Charles and Diana, Princess of Wales. Coming up on our left is the heritage-listed Beehive Building, built in 1872 and designed by renowned architect Charles Webb. It was originally home to the Bendigo Mining Exchange. In the late 19th century, at the height of the gold boom, traders on the ground floor would often overflow into the street. Next stop, Charing Cross. If you're getting off here, please pull the left-hand bell cord once. If you have just joined us, welcome aboard. From the 1930s to the 1960s, this was the heart of Bendigo's theatre district, with the Plaza Cinema, Lyric Theatre and Royal Princess Theatre all within a stone's throw of one another. The Star Cinema in Eagle used to swap movies with the Lyric Theatre at interval using the Bendigo tramways as transport. The tram conductor would meet the projectionists out the front and exchange the reels. Though Hollywood had come to Bendigo, after World War II, it was still very much a gold mining town. The Bendigo of the 1940s, the heyday of the Central Deborah gold mine, was very different to the one we all experience today. Former mine manager Ray Beard remembered the Bendigo of his childhood as streets that literally flowed with gold.
The streets around Bendigo were back then. After it was running just about any kind of game for gold. You had to do it because that's the tools. We used to do one out too. After I had drinks, Holland, comic books.
Another local, Neil Snowy Murray, also grew up in post-war Bendigo and remembers it as a city of dust and sand.
When the wind blew, there was sand everywhere. You couldn't keep it out of the house. You ate sand, you drank sand, you slept with sand in your bed.
You may be wondering why Bendigo's public tramway system closed. As much as the Bendigo people love the trams, they love their cars more. With fewer people relying on the trams, the State Electricity Commission couldn't afford to keep the system running. On the 16th of April, 1972, 20,000 people lined Bendigo streets. And as the last two trams led a procession down Pall Mall to the depot, most people didn't know whether to cry or cheer. Just a few weeks after the tramway closed, 5,000 signatures were collected on a petition, together with 600 letters, pleading for the state government to allow Bendigo's trams and most of the former Golden Square to North Bendigo tramway to be preserved as a tourist tramway. Murray Mansfield and Robin Green recalled the mood in Bendigo at the time.
Just the enthusiasm of the citizens of Bendigo, in addition to the signatories, was phenomenal. It wasn't. But I don't think there has been another issue where Bendigo people got behind a cause.
As a result, Bendigo's talking tram service began in December 1972 and has been running ever since. We are now nearing Central Deborah Gold Mine, which operated as a commercial mine from 1939 to 1954. During this time, almost 1 ton of gold was extracted, which would be worth around $48 million at today's prices. Central Deborah Gold Mine now operates as an award-winning tourist attraction and is a living reminder of the important role that mining played in making Bendigo the vibrant and diverse city it is today. Be sure to experience one of the fascinating underground tours. For those of you leaving us, we hope you've enjoyed the experience and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Passengers getting off here are asked to wait for directions from the tram crew, while those of you choosing to stay aboard will have a few minutes to wait while our crew prepares for the next part of our journey.